Welcome to FDA's Tobacco Compliance Webinars, education and information for retailers and small businesses, sponsored by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the Center for Tobacco Products. In this webinar, we'll discuss tips on how tobacco retailers can prevent tobacco sales to persons under 21 years of age, with a focus on age verification, internal compliance checks, and recommended hiring and management training practices. We'll start with an update on Tobacco 21, otherwise known as T21. In addition, we will discuss the various tools that are available to retailers that may help prevent the sale of tobacco products to persons under the age of 21. We'll cover available retailer training programs, age verification techniques, and we'll review business practices that can be beneficial in preventing tobacco sales to persons under 21 years of age. It is important to note that although this presentation focuses solely on the age and ID provisions in federal regulations, there are additional regulations with which retailers must comply. But first, let's discuss the issues facing our nation regarding youth use of tobacco products. Each day in the United States, approximately 1,500 youth smoke their first cigarette, and an additional 200 youth become daily cigarette smokers. Additionally, underage use of electronic nicotine delivery systems, such as e-cigarettes, has increased dramatically. To prevent children and underage youth from becoming addicted to these products, the Center for Tobacco Products is tasked with enforcing federal law and regulations designed to protect persons under 21 years of age. Retailers can help FDA keep harmful tobacco products out of the hands of our youth. This presentation will provide you with some tools that can be used to help you comply with federal law and regulations and keep the youth in your community safe from the dangers of tobacco. Now, let's discuss the changes made to the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, also known as the FD&C Act, that increased the federal minimum age for the sale of tobacco products. If you operate a brick-and-mortar retail store that sells tobacco products, it is important that you understand your obligation to only sell cigarettes, cigarette tobacco, roll-your-own tobacco, smokeless tobacco, and covered tobacco products to individuals 21 years of age or older. This obligation extends to your clerks and employees as well. In addition to not selling tobacco products to anyone under 21 years of age, you and your employees are still required under the regulations to check IDs for anyone under the age of 30. Remember that it is illegal to sell tobacco products to anyone under the age of 21, and age verification with a photo ID is required for anyone under 30 who attempts to purchase tobacco products. This is true even if the purchaser is old enough to buy tobacco products. There are no exceptions from these requirements. Retailers must continue to comply with all other applicable requirements under the law. For example, retailers cannot sell single cigarettes and give away free samples of tobacco products. It is important to make sure your employees understand these requirements and how to comply with the laws. On March 15, 2022, the President signed legislation to amend the FD&C Act to extend FDA's tobacco product jurisdiction to products containing nicotine from any source, not just nicotine derived from tobacco. Specifically, this legislation expanded the definition of tobacco product in the FD&C Act to include products containing nicotine from any source. As of April 14, 2022, retailers of tobacco products containing nicotine not made or derived from tobacco must ensure compliance with applicable requirements under the FD&C Act resulting from this law. As such, it is illegal for a retailer to sell any tobacco product containing nicotine from any source, including cigarettes, smokeless tobacco, cigars, and e-cigarettes, to anyone under 21. After July 13, 2022, a non-tobacco nicotine product can only be legally marketed in the United States if it has received a marketing granted order, or MGO, from FDA. This means that it is illegal for a retailer or distributor to sell or distribute a non-tobacco nicotine product that is not subject to an MGO from FDA. Without this MGO, a product is in violation of the law, and its manufacturer, retailer, or distributor risks FDA enforcement. Before we continue, it is important to note that the information provided in this presentation is informational and meant purely to assist retailers in understanding existing laws, regulations, and guidances. As you view this webinar, it is important to note that the FDA does not endorse any specific third-party point-of-sale systems, age verification systems, or training programs. In addition, the FDA's Center for Tobacco Products provides these informational webinars and educational services to the public free of charge. One initial step that you, the retailer, can take is to establish a formal training program for your employees. FDA recommends retailer training programs include a written policy for employees covering the applicable federal laws and regulations. FDA notes that there may be additional and possibly stricter state and local laws relating to the sale and distribution of tobacco products. Retailers should consult with state and local authorities for further information. FDA recommends that this policy should be shared both verbally and in writing, acknowledged by each employee, documented in training records, and enforced by you. Maintaining a robust training program reinforces the importance of complying with all laws and regulations that apply to your business. This webinar does not cover internal compliance training programs in detail. However, more information can be found by viewing the Tobacco Retailer Training Program webinar and reading the guidance document FDA has published on this topic. Tobacco retailers play a direct and critical role in reducing the overall health burden of tobacco products and protecting youth from the harmful effects of tobacco use. In November of 2017, the Center for Tobacco Products launched This Is Our Watch, a national retailer education program that you can use in your establishment. Upon receipt of the This Is Our Watch materials, you will find various posters designed to remind you, your employees, and your customers of the ID requirements when selling or purchasing tobacco products, along with many other resources for your establishment. These materials, combined with other techniques and technologies discussed in this webinar, can help you prevent sales of tobacco products to persons under 21 years of age. These resources can also help remind customers and employees of federal laws and regulations and the responsibilities surrounding every sale of a tobacco product. It is important to remember that posted materials, including signs, posters, and calendars alone, do not prevent sales to persons under 21 years of age. Only an employee adequately completing a check of a customer's ID and correctly deciding not to sell tobacco products to persons under 21 years of age can prevent a sale. This Is Our Watch materials are available for order or download free via the FDA Tobacco Education Resource Library To find these materials, go to www.fda.gov and type "This is our watch" into the search bar. We invite you to order up to 25 copies at one time. If additional quantities are needed, please email your request to us at FDA Tobacco Materials at fda.hhs.gov, and we will work with you to ensure you have the materials you need. Because the easiest way to prevent underage sales is to properly identify potential underage customers, it is important to develop, utilize, and monitor age verification techniques. When requiring photo ID verification, consider how to verify age and what constitutes acceptable forms of identification. We will discuss specific age verifying techniques later. FDA regulations require retailers to verify the age of anyone under the age of 30 who purchases tobacco products by checking photographic identification containing the bearer's date of birth. FDA recommends that only government-issued, non-expired photographic identification containing the bearer's date of birth be accepted to establish a legal age to purchase tobacco products. State or local laws may impose additional restrictions beyond those required under federal regulations regarding acceptable photo ID. Therefore, a state may have in place more stringent photo ID requirements. Examples of types of photographic ID that would be acceptable are listed on this slide. No matter the form of ID, you should always look for a photograph and the date of birth of the bearer. Various methods can be used to verify the validity of photographic identification cards, and there are several third-party systems and services that help with ID checks. It is always important to check the date of birth, even if a potential purchaser's photo ID is valid. Federal regulations require that you verify the date of birth of the purchaser by checking the photo ID for customers that are under the age of 30, regardless of their appearance. It is important to be aware that a person's weight and height, or use of apparel, such as hats or sunglasses, may cause them to appear older than they are. However, that does not change the requirement for you and your employees to verify, with photographic ID, the age of any customer under the age of 30 who attempts to purchase tobacco products. There are several types of age-verifying technologies that can be integrated into your business practices. 4 examples are covered in this webinar, including 3 that are integrated into point-of-sale systems. It is important to note that this is not an exhaustive list of all the systems and technologies that are available. If you are considering utilizing an age verification technology, FDA recommends you review the functions of the equipment and consider which is best for your business. Some ID scanning systems may also include technology that will identify if the ID is authentic. Standalone age calculator systems can be a useful, cost-effective tool to verify whether customers are old enough to purchase tobacco products. FDA has developed a free smartphone application which can be downloaded through your smartphone app store or by visiting the FDA's Center for Tobacco Products website. Since the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act was amended to raise the minimum age of sale of tobacco products from 18 to 21 years of age, the current version of the FDA age calculator is preset to determine if the customer is at least 21 years old. After a retailer scans a photo ID or manually enters the customer's date of birth, the app will automatically calculate the customer's age. If the customer is old enough to purchase a tobacco product, a green circle with a check mark will appear on the screen. If the customer is not old enough to purchase a tobacco product, a red circle with an X will appear on the screen. Remember that it is your responsibility as the retailer to know and comply with your state and local laws as well. FDA released the Digital Age Verification Calendar as part of the This Is Our Watch voluntary retailer education program. FDA's free digital age verification calendar helps retailers quickly determine if a customer is old enough to legally purchase tobacco products. The calendar can be programmed to display the exact date a customer must have been born on or before to legally buy tobacco products. Again, under federal law, the minimum age of tobacco purchase is 21. Retailers who use FDA's This Is Our Watch digital age verification calendar need to update the minimum purchase age on the calendar to 21 years. Instructions on how to operate the This Is Our Watch digital age verification calendar can be found by visiting the link on the screen. Retailers who would like a This Is Our Watch digital age verification calendar may order one free of charge from the FDA Tobacco Education Resource Library. Benefits of age calculator systems include ease of use for calculating age, as well as simple integration into current business practices. These systems do not prevent sales by halting the transaction through the point-of-sale system and must be utilized and acted upon by the employee to be effective. Systems that are integrated into the point-of-sale transaction often can be made to prompt the employee to verify the customer's age. In this case, when a tobacco product is scanned, a reminder to check ID appears on the screen. This prompt does not prevent the transaction from moving forward, but serves as a reminder to the clerk. This reminder is only helpful if the clerk both adheres to the store policy to check the ID and calculates the customer's age correctly. Though these systems can be effective for many businesses, be aware that they do not prevent sales or suspend transactions automatically. This system still relies on a well-trained employee, verifying the age of the customer and choosing to complete or prevent the sale. Integrated point-of-sale systems that require date of birth entry are useful tools in preventing sales to persons under 21 years of age. These systems require the clerk to enter the customer's date of birth before allowing a transaction for a tobacco product to be completed. The system does the age calculation based on the date of birth that is entered by the employee. Because the date of birth must be entered manually, the person selling the tobacco product could enter an incorrect date of birth, which allows the sale to be completed. Some systems also allow the ability to override the age calculation and make the sale even if the calculation shows the purchaser to be underage. So it is important to understand who can override transactions and what steps in the process are overridable for a given point-of-sale system. Integrated point-of-sale systems that require ID scans to complete transactions involving tobacco products can also be effective in preventing sales to persons under 21 years of age. However, there are some considerations to be aware of when deciding whether to utilize one of these integrated systems. Understanding what types of ID are available to your local patrons is an important factor to consider, as some ID cards are not able to be scanned. Again, it is important to know what override functions exist on your system and who will have access to those functions. The Tobacco Retailer Training Program webinar that was referenced earlier also provides some additional examples of FDA-recommended age-verifying techniques that you may implement to assist employees in verifying a purchaser's age. You may require employees to compare the date of birth on the photo ID with a posted tobacco sale calendar to verify the age of the customer. You may choose to install price scanners that are programmed so that when a tobacco product is scanned, the register displays a message prompting the employee to either request age identification and key in the purchaser's date of birth, or verify that the purchaser is 21 or older. You can require employees to scan all photographic identifications through an electronic age verification device. As a retailer, you may want to monitor your employees' sales. Some point-of-sale systems have the capability of producing reports showing the data entered or logged for sales of tobacco products. You can use these reports alone or in conjunction with your surveillance footage to audit and monitor whether your employees adhere to your age verification policies. For example, you could look for repeat date of birth entries entered throughout the day, percentage of manual entries versus scanned entries, if the system is capable of scanning IDs, or compare the report with security footage to see if the dates of birth entered appear reasonable for the purchasers. Remember, be sure to review the functions of the different age verification technologies that are available and consider which is best for your business. Despite obtaining a high-quality system, employees may still be able to sell tobacco products to persons under 21 years of age. So, as the retailer, you may need to implement additional controls to monitor your employees' adherence to your tobacco sale policies. Now that we've covered some technologies that could be used to assist you in preventing the sale of tobacco products to persons under 21 years of age, we'll focus on business practices that could also be helpful. If permitted by local and state law, you can consider implementing a mystery shopper program that would perform internal compliance checks. For retailers that have a training program in place, as recommended by the FDA, other ways to check that your employees are compliant with your policies and the laws and regulations that were reviewed in their training include administering unannounced tests or reviewing security footage captured when there is little or no supervision of employees. Many of these techniques can be used in conjunction with one another. This is not an exhaustive list, but is meant to provide a range of options for use in an internal compliance check program. FDA recommends conducting routine compliance checks, but not on a regular, predictable schedule so that employees are not able to detect a pattern. FDA recommends that a thorough compliance check program include unannounced checks. Also, employees should be made aware that compliance with laws and policies will be reviewed, and results of these reviews will be acted upon internally. The next set of recommendations relate to hiring and management practices. FDA recommends that you consider requiring employees who sell regulated tobacco products to be at least 21 years old. Studies have shown that employees under the age of 21 are more likely to sell tobacco products to persons under 21 years of age than are older clerks. Although federal regulations do not establish a minimum age for employees who sell regulated tobacco products, some state or local laws may do so. You may also consider implementing management practices, where permitted by law, that tie employee and manager compliance to their performance evaluations. In addition to the information presented here, check for state and local resources that may be available to you. Some states, such as Alabama, Maryland, Massachusetts, Missouri, and New York, have resources to ensure retailers are compliant with both state and federal laws. If your jurisdiction does not have any resources available to you, you may find helpful information at one of these states' websites. We remind you, however, to ensure that the information in these resources is consistent with the laws and regulations in your jurisdiction. An example of some of the information that can be found through state and local resources includes ways to deal with unruly customers after the refusal of a sale to an underage purchaser, as well as other face-to-face scenarios involving attempted purchases by persons under 21 years of age. In summary, proper age verification and ID checks can help you keep persons under 21 years of age safe, while also complying with federal laws and regulations, and are especially effective when combined with a robust internal training and compliance check program. In addition, updating hiring and management practices and incorporating ideas from federal, state, and industry resources can help you prevent violations. You may find that you need to implement more than one of these methods. As a retailer, you need to decide which controls are appropriate for your business. Thank you for helping us as we work together to protect our nation's youth from the harmful effects of tobacco products. You now have several tips on how you, the tobacco retailer, can prevent tobacco sales to persons under the age of 21 years of age. With a focus on age verification, internal compliance checks, and hiring and management practices, you can help improve the health of the youth in your community. If you have questions about federal tobacco regulations, please contact us at askctp@fda.hhs.gov or call us at 1-877-CTP-1373. Thank you for watching this program, brought to you by the Center for Tobacco Products, protecting our youth and the nation's health from the dangers of tobacco.